Boy, what a great day. We told you this a couple days ago. We expected weather right around 70 degrees, and it's 65 right now, warming up on 1 foot. The Owl is ready for some baseball. Brought to you by Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Come play our way. I think the Marlins last year were 9-1 when the Owl did the weather for the Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. And they were also pretty good when Chris Volstad pitched as well.
You know, I think there's some truth to what Josh Johnson was talking about in his interview with Frank Ford about how there's a little internal competition. Each starter goes out there. Each one wants to do a little bit better and keep his ball club in the game. And one of the keys for Chris Volstad, at 22, he is a very smart pitcher. Obviously, he has the stature and he has the stuff, but he also has the know-how. Goes over scouting reports, works with Mark Wiley, works with his catcher John Baker, and they know exactly the game plan when they come in to face the hitters, how they want to work each hitter.
Defensively, that's been a focus for the Marlins.
And I think it comes into play more importantly with Chris Volstad. He's a pitch-to-contact guy, so balls will be put in play with Hermida, Ross, and Ross Glode. How about the outfield? You have Ross Glode in the outfield. Around the infield, Bonifacio at third, Ramirez and Uggle up the middle, Jorge Cantu at first, and John Baker is handling Chris Volstad.
Let's hope they don't collide. And there's Glode. He is a natural first baseman, but he said as a utility guy and a guy that has been on some good major league teams, he's learned to play the outfield, and he played a lot of outfield, especially in spring training this year with the Royals.
Yeah, and the reason he's in there, Cameron Maben just getting today off for no reason. He doesn't need a day off, but Ross Glode needs to get some at-bats, and Freddie Gonzalez wanted him to get his 3 or 4 ABs in this game today.
So Glode's out and right. Guzman moves up to the leadoff spot where Lasting's Millage has resided the first 2 games of this series. Millage has had a rough 2 games, not Guzman. Those are his numbers last year, and this year he's 5 for 9, make it 6 for 10. He has been red hot in this series. He had 3 hits last night, and he opens with a single here.
Yeah, you're right, Rich. He's been the one hot hitter that Manny Acta has had in this series.
He's a good player. I remember watching him when he was with the Minnesota Twins.
He'd lead the league in triples every year.
Absolutely. Then he signed the contract and had an awful year for the Nationals his first year there. Got hurt, had that laser surgery with his eyes, and has bounced back. Good year last year, an all-star last year. And here's Dukes. Volstad's fastball is up and in. C.B. Bucknor is behind home plate calling balls and strikes, and Dukes is out in center field. Pretty good year last year for Dukes. He was injured part of the season. Had a variety of leg injuries.
We've talked about it, Rich. The dilemma for Manny Acta and the Nationals is getting guys like Dukes and Willingham in the lineup. Both players are guys that should be playing every day and not coming off the bench.
I think that's the challenge is going to be, can Adam Dunn play first base adequately? You hate to take a bat like Nick Johnson out of the lineup, but Johnson gets the day off and Dunn is at first.
Yeah, Johnson had 3 hits last night.
Guzman is running, a little hit and run, and it's fouled back into the seats. Nationals don't have a whole lot of team speed.
Yeah, Guzman is one of the guys that will run on occasion for Washington. Not quite sure if that was a straight steal or a hit and run. I was looking to see if Guzman was looking back to see what Dukes did. Don't know if he did. Might have been a straight steal.
Here's the 1-1. Volstad's breaking ball is high. Chris Volstad, of course, burst on the scene for the Fish. He was a name that we had heard and talked about for 2 or 3 years leading into last year. And what a debut he made in Colorado, coming in relief, getting a win, then making a start. That start at Dodger Stadium where he almost threw a complete game. And he had a terrific season from there. His ERA was under 3 in his 14 starts. He gave up just 3 home runs in 14 starts.
Yeah, he had not given up a home run in Double-A. So he gave up 3 home runs the entire year. Pitched over 175 innings combined between Double-A and his stint with the Marlins.
Right now, Volstad has fallen behind Elijah Dukes at 3-1. Dukes had a troubled run with the Tampa Bay Rays. Out of Tampa. Guzman not running, and Dukes breaks his bat and sends it up into the seats. This is the first game of the day in baseball. There's a few afternoon games, including the Braves and the Phillies, who will play later on this afternoon. How about the Braves shutting out the Phillies yesterday? The Braves are now 2-0 against the Phillies. Last year, they were 4-14 against the Phillies. And they lost all 9 games in Atlanta against the Phillies. Guzman is running, and it's ball 4. And Volstad has put a couple guys on. The single by Guzman, the walk to Dukes. Up comes Zimmerman.
One of the things that Chris Volstad has always done well is get that curveball over whenever. And he threw it there on a 3-2 pitch, but missed badly with it. Not that he wanted to get into this jam, but one of the things we saw last year, Rich, is when he got into trouble for a young pitcher, he was able to pitch out of it and get out of jams.
Yeah, that helped him tremendously. And you don't see older pitchers that are able to do that much. So it's 1st and 2nd with Zimmerman up. And the Nationals trying to get a lead in this series, something they've not had. The Marlins have jumped them early in both ball games. 2 runs in the first last night, 2 runs in the first on opening day.
That walk, by the way, just the 2nd walk issued by Marlins pitching in this series.
And the first by a starter this year. And Zimmerman jammed on that pitch, and the count's 1-1. People complain sometimes that the Marlins don't sign their big name players to long-term contracts. Well, Ryan Zimmerman is the face of the Nationals, and he does not have a long-term contract. He went to arbitration this year. There was some talk, but those talks stalled in spring training. Zimmerman has said that once the season starts, he doesn't want to talk contract, and he's happy just to go to arbitration again next year. Seen as a hometown guy, as a star at Virginia. One of the many stars that have come out of that area. David Wright, Michael Kadire.
The Uptons.
Yeah. That went fouled at the plate, and the count's 2-2.
Dave Volstad trying to bury that 2-seamer in on him to get a ground ball in hopes of a double play. And that's one of the things that helped him so well last year. He still doesn't seem real comfortable yet out there in his first start of the year.
He's run the count 2-2 to Zimmerman. Wants to make sure that Guzman's not going anywhere. The big bat of Adam Dunn is on deck. There's the breaking ball. It's sent out into center field. Ross got a good jump, makes the catch, fires to first, and there's nobody there. And the ball's going to end up in the dugout. I think Cody instinctively went to first. That's going to score 1 run and move a runner up to third base. Jorge Cantu had come to the middle of the diamond in case that ball fell and he needed to be the cutoff man, and Ross thought he had a chance at first. The problem was Cantu was still in the middle of the diamond.
You know, the thought was there. Good pitch, breaking ball out on the end of the bat. Good jump. Cody makes the play. Sees the runner off first base, Elijah Dukes, and he sees a couple of guys. Look, there's all kinds of people over there. There's a runner, there's a coach, and he thinks one of those guys is Jorge Cantu, but one of them was not. Jorge had gone in to be a cutoff man and had moved off the bag. And so because the ball went into the dugout, everybody advances an extra base. And that's the first error of the year for the Marlins, and it's a very costly one.
You know, and Cody Ross made just one error last year. So here is done, and the shift has to be abridged, so to speak, with the runner at third base, Dukes. So there's no RBI.
He had all kinds of people over there, except the person in a Marlins uniform.
Yeah, and I mean, as a center fielder, you're on the move. You're concentrating on making the catch, and all his momentum was carrying him towards first base. And instinctively, he thought, hey, I got a shot there. He made a nice one-hop throw, but none of those three guys were willing to field the ball. Broken bat pop-up. Great pitch.
Big pitch.
Bonifacio makes the catch.
Now here's Cody coming in to make the play. He's got his momentum going to first. He sees the runner off the bag and comes up and throws. Now look, there's one. Look at all the people. They're around. All kinds of people. 3 people, but they're all wearing Nationals uniforms.
And none of them have a glove. That was cool what you did there.
I like that. It's like the red arrow look this year.
It was like a radar, you know, but there were no Marlin blips on that radar.
No, see, we were going with the next we'll come up with the sonar.
Well, here's the hammer. Josh Willingham getting his first start as a National. And as we've talked about in this series, he's a guy that is an everyday player, and he had a good spring, had a grand slam late in spring, and certainly had a nice run as a Marlin. Is still well liked by the front office and by the clubhouse. See Dukes at third. Willingham takes a fastball high, and Volstad's run the count at 3-0.
That always a shock for Josh Willingham when he first got traded. When you spend 9 years in an organization, and Josh was 9 years in the Marlins organization, that first trade is always shocking.
Willingham walks. So this is an un-Volstad-like inning in Chris's start, his first one in 2009. It's going to bring Austin Kearns up, who put a ball in orbit yesterday.
Yeah, the pitch count is getting up, but he still has an opportunity if he gets Kearns to get out of this inning, allowing the unearned run. And part of that because of the good pitch to get done to pop up for the second out.
Kearns homered off of Leo Nunez last night, and he put it up in the upper deck in left field.
By the way, that curveball is what Chris likes to call a get-me-over curveball. It's early in the count. Hitter's usually going to be sitting on a fastball. But if he gets ahead as 2 strikes, the curveball probably be a little sharper bite, maybe be out of the strike zone a little to try to get the hitter to chase it.
That would be the get-me-out.
That'd be the get-me-out curveball.
Into center field, Ross, and it's going to fall for a base hit.
Oh, that was one of those knuckleball line drives. It looked like it was going to jump all the way to Cody Ross, and all of a sudden that knuckling spin to it just dropped and sunk in front of him. Cody does the right thing. He doesn't go back or in. He freezes it. He stays. That's what you're supposed to do. And then all of a sudden the ball just dropped.
So the Nationals are the team that gets 2 runs in the first here. Mark Wiley's out to talk to Volstad. Not often that you see anybody on the field wearing a coat in a day game at Dolphin Stadium. But with the temperatures in the upper 60s, headed towards 70, Wiles is sporting the sleeves. Willie Harris is coming up.
Well, it's been a rough first inning for Cody Ross in center field as well. The throw to first, and then not an easy ball hit by Kearns. And And the outfield here at Dolphin Stadium, all three outfield positions are always tougher in day games, too.
Volstad has been missing up. Willie Harris 0 for 2 in this series. Good changeup.
Again, another Marlins starter working on that pitch, and that's a pitch that'll certainly help Chris against left-handed hitters.
Couple runners aboard, Kearns and Willingham, 2 runs across. That's out. Volstad has made it tough on CB Bucknor as well, the home plate umpire. When you miss all over the place and you're unable to really establish a pattern, that makes it a little tougher to call balls and strikes. Another changeup.
That's good for him that he's been able to establish that pitch early in this inning, because not a whole lot else has been working.
So it's 2-2 to the Nationals second baseman. Volstad trying to get out of this inning. Rolled on the ground, Cantu backhands, flips to Volstad in time, and the inning is over. But the Nationals are on top in this one. A little change of pace, up 2-0.
Vía SAP y es presentado por KFC.
Marlins lineup looks this way on this afternoon. Freddie Gonzalez has put pen to paper. Actually, Carlos Tosca is the one that always draws out the lineup card for him. And this is what the Marlins lineup looks like. The Fish at 2-0. There it is. Emilio Bonifacio at third base. Bake is back in the 2 spot. Hanley Ramirez at short. Jorge Cantu hitting cleanup. Dan Uggla at second. Jeremy Hermida out in left field. Cody's in center. Ross Glode in the 8th spot. And Volstad will hit 9th. And they face a big right-hander. I mean big.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. Daniel Cabrera stands 6'9", 258 pounds, has a live fastball, a breaking ball, and a changeup, but can be all over the place. A lot of times loses command, and when he does so, if the Marlins can get on base, he's slow to the plate. They can run all day.
For a guy like Cabrera, whom the Marlins have seen basically in spring training, the Orioles, of course, training in Fort Lauderdale, the Marlins up in Jupiter. They get a chance to see the Orioles a lot. So the last, Buckner got that one. The last 3 or 4 years, the Marlins have seen Cabrera in the spring. I think CB caught that one in the right hand. Mike Kozak is out to 10 to the umpire.
Well, and so far his first 2 pitches have missed badly. This one misses and then catches a piece of C.B. Buckner. Ow, on that right elbow. Emilio Bonifacio was a teammate of Cabrera's in winter ball in Dominica this year.
And of course, another teammate of his is on the Marlins staff in their bullpen, Hayden Penn, a former Baltimore Oriole prospect. He had the same scouting report you just gave. He said there are times where he has some of the best stuff around, but there are other times where he can be all over the place.
Well, if you want to find out a little bit more about Daniel Cabrera, we'll check in on the scouting report. He's an imposing figure, there's no question, but he's won 48 games, but a career ERA over 5. He has that power fastball, but many times loses command of that heat.
And the Nationals are looking for a starter to get deep into a ball game, and Cabrera has missed on his first 3 with Bonifacio. Scott Olson went just 3 innings last night. Same with John Lannon on opening day. And Bonifacio, the 3-0 is inside, and as Tommy pointed out, Cabrera is slow to the plate, doesn't have a great move. You can run on him, and that's all you need to hear if you're Bonifacio.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons Manny Acta has Will Nieves behind the plate. He feels he has a little bit quicker release than Jesus Flores, and so Nieves catching.
This is the combination that the Marlins really like. The speed of Bonifacio and the patience of Baker. And a left-handed bat to protect that runner. Cabrera comes plateward with a strike, and it's 0-1. Baker got the night off last night. Ronnie Paulino had a starring role with his first big league triple and a double. Baker was 1 for 4 in the opener with a double and a walk. Good on base percentage, good contact hitter, always has deep counts. Bonifacio has increased his lead. Not running, Baker takes a cut, and quickly it's 0-2.
Yeah, you think about it, Daniel Cabrera with lots of experience. I mean, the last 5 years, he's been a part of the Orioles' rotation, starting rotation.
He's been a durable guy, too. 146 starts in those 5 years. He's from that fabled place in the Dominican Republic, San Pedro de Macorís.
Yeah, which has produced so many shortstops. Once he got beyond 6'5", they said, all right, Daniel, you're going to go to the mound. And that was probably at age 15.
Count 0-2. You wonder if the Nationals might pitch out. Ball in the dirt. It's tough to do with
a guy who doesn't have much control.
You're right. Nationals counting on Cabrera in a rotation filled with youth. Sharon Marti, John Lannon, Scott Olson, Cabrera. Baker takes strike 3 calls, and Bonifacio didn't budge from first base.
That ball had terrific movement. It started almost off the plate. Look at how it came back and caught the plate. Caught a good part of the plate. That's a good pitch for Cabrera. I think with Baker, the lefty up there, maybe Bonifacio decided to stay, give him the hole a little bit. But now with Hanley up there, I don't think he'll take a couple of pitches before we'll see Bonifacio take off.
Hanley 2 for 6 in the series, including a grand slam, his first career grand slam. Cabrera pours in a strike, and it's 0-1. A long look down to third. As a hitter, if you've got a guy like Bonifacio at first base and he's going to run, you want him to run early and you're at bat. Hanley hits a line smash on a hop. Harris got one there. Guzman's turn is in time. And Daniel Cabrera with a leadoff walk works out of trouble. Gets a double play to finish off the first. It's 2-0 Nationals. Nationals have a 2-0 lead over the Fish into the second. And we'll see if Chris Volstad can settle down. Will Nieves, Daniel Cabrera, and then Christian Guzman against Volstad, who misses someplace with that pitch, and it's 1-0. Nieves, one of 3 catchers that the Nationals are carrying right now. It's a roster that's heavy with catching and heavy with outfielders.
You know, that's a part of the order where it's an opportunity for Chris to settle in and have himself a little comeback inning. He's got the number 8 hitter in Nieves, and then the pitcher Cabrera, who spent all of his career in the American League, very few at bats, and then back to the top of the order.
And you can see the frustration.
Yeah, he's going to have to start getting that over with a little more consistency, though.
Volstad's not a guy that shows a lot of emotion on the mound, but he just did. Watch his reaction. Nieves going after that pitch, and it's 2-2. Volstad figures, I'll just pour a couple of fastballs across, and he caught the knees on that one for his first strikeout.
Well, 5 of the first 8 batters he's been behind. Borderline pitch, got the call, he'll take it. Nieves thought it was down.
Here's Cabrera now, and Volstad fires a strike.
Sometimes if a catcher who takes a pitch like that is sharp enough, he'll say to the umpire, give my guy that pitch too. The better curve. Again, an opportunity to work on that pitch to Cabrera, the pitcher.
Because he's not likely to hit it out of the ballpark if you make a mistake.
If you make a mistake. There it is again. That was the get me out curveball.
Yeah, a pair of strikeouts for Volstad here in the second. You can become a Marlins season ticket holder in 2009 and enjoy the best rewards and benefits in the major leagues. You enjoy great savings by choosing from a variety of plans starting at just $85. Don't miss Super Saturdays, the Yankees series, closing day, and more. Become a Marlins season ticket holder and get priority seating in the new ballpark. 1-877 Marlins. Guzman runs up the bunt. Did he go? Yes, he did.
Rich, I was told today by our Heat insider, Steve LeBeau, doing stats for us today, that the height of both starters today, Cabrera, Chris Volstad, each are taller than the Heat starting forwards.
Well, Volstad was listed at 6'7" last year.
So Eric Spoelstra may be watching in to check on these 2 big guys.
Off the end of the bat, Bonifacio quickly there, fires the first in time. 1-2-3 go the Nationals. Washington on top, 2-0. Its two biggest months, Toyota delivers over 100 live games, a drive to the playoffs, and the dawn of a new season. It's all that you love about Florida sports, and it's live on Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida. FSU and North Carolina. Well, college baseball for you.
A little ACC action.
Cantu, Ugla, and Hermida against Daniel Cabrera. CB Buckner likes that low strike on both sides. Cantu already a couple homers in this one. And Cabrera bounces it up there. Jorge got the fish started last night with a first inning home run, a 2-run shot. Homered in the third inning on Monday. That was a 2-run homer as well.
Tried to hold back on that fastball, but it just ran inside. I think you can really see the movement that Cabrera has. Remember that pitch he froze John Baker on that moved back over the plate? That one moved and took off inside and just caught a piece of Jorge's bat.
He's an imposing figure out there at 6'9". And his breaking ball is in the dirt. You brought up a good point with Cantu a couple days ago on opening day, in that last year when he won the battle at third base, the focus was on his defense. And he had a good spring, obviously, with the bat, and that's the reason he made the team. But it was, can he play third, and can he make that adjustment? And that was a big adjustment for him, going as a second baseman to third. His arm, he had soreness in his arm, just getting used to the throw across the diamond. They don't have to worry about that this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of times players feel more relaxed at first. Jorge feels relaxed at first. You can just see by the way he plays over there.
Two pitch, and Cabrera throws it by him. Good live fastball and a pair of punch-outs for 27-year-old Daniel Cabrera. Going to bring up Dan Ugla with Jeremy Hermida to follow.
You know, he is one of those tantalizing products at the major league level because of his size and because of his stuff. And he has stretches. He had a stretch last April 12th through May 20th. He went 8 straight quality starts for the Orioles.
Ugla goes after the first pitch fastball, pops it up. Nieves in the on-deck circle, and that is a tough play. And we've talked about it. These are the most dangerous dugouts in baseball. There's no bar there. There's no netting. All there is a roof and then a big drop-off.
Yeah, in a lot of the other dugouts that step down, there's a little net or a fence or something that you can brace yourself on. But when you get over near the top step, there's nothing to brace on, and when you're in the other dugout, you're not going to get any help either.
Up and in, Ugla has to bend out of the way, and it's 1-1. Dugouts in the new ballpark will be much safer, we're told. Ugla takes up and in. And so Cabrera trying to stay inside on Ugla.
These are those fun at-bats to watch. You get a good feeling he'll see another fastball, and you got one of the best fastball hitters in the league in Dan Ugla. He spun one. And that's why Dan took it, because that was the last thing he was thinking about.
Let's see what he gets now at 2-2. Ugla homered, a towering shot to left in last night's ball game, his first of the season. He's had two fastballs and a breaking ball up at his head. And it's, you know, Cabrera's one of those uncomfortable at bats because he's effectively wild.
If you're especially a right-handed hitter, you're not going to be digging deep.
He missed down low, and Ugla walks. And that'll bring Hermida to the plate. Marlins and Nationals, glad you're with us. Full day of baseball is ahead for everybody out there. This is the first game of the day. Interesting stuff going on last night.
Yeah, a lot of exciting baseball games last night.
Giants beat the Brewers 10-6. Tim Lincecum only went 3 innings in that ball game.
Yeah, last year's National League Cy Young Award winner.
Tell you a guy who I saw in the World Baseball Classic who was really nasty. Ubaldo Jimenez last night was outstanding as Colorado shut out Arizona. Jimenez 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. Troy Tulowitzki hit his 2nd home run of the season.
Yeah, but the bad luck pitcher in that game was Dan Herron. He went 7 innings, gave up just 3 hits and a run, no walks, 9 strikeouts, and took the loss.
Tulowitzki could be a comeback player of the year type guy. Heck, Jeremy Hermida could be a comeback player of the year type guy if he has a big year. Jeremy fouls it back. He homered on opening day. His lone hit in this series. He's 1 for 7.
Yeah, there were some pretty good pitching performances around baseball last night. How about Josh Beckett?
10 strikeouts, 7 innings. And Beckett gave up just 2 hits as Boston beat the Rays 5-3. Check swing fouled at the plate. The Cubs bullpen broke down in the 10th inning. Kevin Gregg got the loss. And Houston beat the Cubs 3-2. Jeff Keppinger a broken bat single against Gregg.
Yeah, late spring acquisition by the Astros, the former Cincinnati Reds shortstop.
Uggla's at first. Hermida takes inside. Almost looked like Nieves bumped into C.B. Buckner as he raised up there.
It looked like he was going to try to make a quick snap throw to first base, and then either bumped into Buckner or lost control of the ball.
All right, the count's full now, and there's 1 out. We told you that Cabrera is not a guy that's real quick to the plate. Let's see if Uggla's on the move. Nope. And Hermida rolls it. Diving stop there by Harris, and Hermida's got himself an infield hit. Harris made the stop, but the transfer's not always easy when you're face first in the dirt and trying to hustle up and get the runner at first.
And because of all that you just described, that's why it's an infield base hit. You see that the second baseman, Willie Harris, was shaded toward the bag for a double play. So he had to go quite a ways to his left. He was able to get a glove on it, and it just trickled out. Once he got the ball, it was too late. So Jeremy gets himself the infield base hit, and the Marlins get a couple of runners on with 1 down.
Here is Cody Ross. All the offense that the Marlins have had the first 2 nights, it has not included Ross. But that's not because he's not swinging the bat well. He has hit the ball hard in both games with nothing to show for it. In the dirt, kicks away, runners move up. And remember, it was Ross in the first inning of this ball game who had the throwing error that opened up the door for the Nationals' 2-run rally.
Sensing a little redemption. Yeah, Cabrera misses badly. That ball caught a piece of the plate, looked like hit on the front of the plate, and kicked away from Nieves. But again, you're in a situation early in the game, you can't think all that, you can't think too much. If you hit a ground ball, you at least get a run in.
Yeah, the middle infield is back right now. Hermida at second, Uggla at third. And Ross pulls that one. Count 1 ball, 1 strike. This was back in the first inning with runners at first and second. Ross made a nice jump, got the ball, fired to first, but no one was there. And a run came across. He and Cantu met after that inning. The 1-1. Breaking ball, ground ball. Zimmerman's coming home. So is Uggla. Collision at the plate. Nieves holds on. And the Marlins will have to settle for runners at first and at second. Nice play by Zimmerman.
Yeah, it was. And you said the infield's back. Zimmerman was even behind the bag, but he got that ball quickly on 1 hop. See, he's playing back, but there's the 1 hopper. He makes a nice play and then just turns and throws. And Uggla, going on contact, is out by quite a bit. That's just a good play by Ryan Zimmerman.
So there's 2 outs, and here's Glode. Got a pinch hitting appearance the other night. And he's 0 for 1 on the season. There's a fastball for a strike. Glode, who was a Marlin draft pick long ago, back in 1997, has made his way around the big leagues. Hermida at second, Ross at first. Glode hits that one to center field, hits it pretty well. Dukes goes back and has room and makes the catch. The Marlins leave a couple. We've played 2. Nationals up 2-0. Work into U.S. Armed Forces serving in 177 countries aboard ships at sea. Welcome to South Florida. Welcome to some National League East baseball. The Marlins have gotten off to a quick start this year. 2 wins against the Nationals, but the Nationals have a 2-0 lead in this one. And into the 3rd inning, a young 22-year-old Chris Volstad tries to settle down the likes of Elijah Dukes, Brian Zimmerman, and Adam Dunn. The get-me-over curveball is there for a strike. And it's 0-1. Dukes walked back in the first. It was kind of a messy inning for Volstad. Threw a lot of pitches, gave up a couple of runs, and he walked 2.
Yeah, one of those runs earned and the other unearned.
Everything in the American League is a night game tonight. Some afternoon games coming up in the National League. The Braves and the Phillies. Javier Vasquez against Joe Blanton. Colorado and Arizona will be playing in Arizona this afternoon as well. Dukes, a swing and a miss.
So the Phillies have only scored 1 run in those 2 games.
I think they've started 0-2 though, like the last 3 years anyways. And it's kind of worked out for them.
They're still making adjustments on their World Series rings.
Yeah, it's their 3rd consecutive 0-2 start. Down goes Dukes. We check in with Frank Fort. Frank.
All right, thanks very much, Rich. Our congratulations go out to our good friend Marlins radio announcer Dave Van Horn. Today is his 40th anniversary of broadcasting Major League Baseball. April 8th, 1969, Dave broadcast his first MLB game with the Montreal Expos. In that time, he's broadcasted over these 40 years 10 no-hitters, including 2 perfect games, 3 World Series. He's broadcast in 28 of the 30 current Major League stadiums and 21 former Major League stadiums. He's been all over the place, still doing a great job for the Florida Marlins. So our congratulations to Dave Van Horn on his 40th anniversary of broadcasting Major League Baseball. Rich?
And I would expect that someday the Ford Frick Award will be in line, and Dave Van Horn will head to Cooperstown.
I would certainly hope so, and certainly deserving is Dave Van Horn.
Ryan Zimmerman got buzzed there by Volstad. That's the highest strike we've seen C.B. Buckner call for either pitcher in this ball game. That one at the letters of Zimmerman, the Washington on his jersey. But Volstad is unable to follow that up, and it's been a frustrating day so far for Chris.
You know, you talked about his arrival to the major leagues. He had that quick trip. He joined the ball club in Denver. He came out of the bullpen, pitched a couple innings, and got the win in that game, and then had that start 5 days later in Los Angeles. Oh, good movement on a two-seamer.
And he gets Zimmerman, so a pair of strikeouts to open the third.
You know, there's no question his stuff is there today. The command is getting better, but terrific movement on some pitches to get Zimmerman that good two-seam fastball.
Shift is on for Adam Dunn. I suspect we'll see a similar one this weekend when Carlos Delgado rolls into town.
Yeah, we see that often in the National League East. We see it with Ryan Howard, the Philadelphia Phillies. The Washington Nationals were telling us they were interested in the way Freddie Gonzalez employs the shift with the third baseman, Bonifacio, over there and not moving Hanley. They thought that was unique. See, they didn't see that last year because they didn't have Adam Dunn. And they didn't have anyone that the Marlins put the shift on.
And the Marlins last year would move Jorge Cantu, who was a natural second baseman, from third over to that spot and just leave the shortstop where he usually plays. Counts 3-1. And a high pitch count so far for Chris Volstad, up into the 50s. Dunn fights that one off, and it counts full at 3-2. Our Firestone leaderboard. We tell you about the walks that Adam Dunn usually piles up. 122. Albert Pujols broke 100 as well. And there's another one. Dunn on his way down to first, and that's going to bring up Willingham.
No problem for Albert Pujols last night. 2 for 3 with a home run against the Pirates. Cardinals came back after a tough loss opening day. They came back and beat the Pirates 9-3 last night.
Here's Hammer. He walked in the first. You've got to think that within the next month or two, one or two of these outfielders here for the Nationals will be playing somewhere else, be it a Austin Kearns or a Josh Willingham or an Elijah Dukes. Of course, they've got to wait and see and make sure that Nick Johnson can stay healthy at first base. That might be a spot for Dunn, although Dimitri Young is trying hard to come off the disabled list, and he's a first baseman as well. You know, there have been some that have questioned whether Adam Dunn enjoys playing the game. Having watched him in the World Baseball Classic and watched him in the 3 games here, there's no question he enjoys playing the game.
He had a blast
Yeah,
during the Classic. Except for the one night he had struggles at first base.
Yeah. Well, he started to run and then stopped and then dashed back to first.
Well, he's going on the concept that Chris Volstad wasn't paying any attention to him. He got that walking lead, and then fortunately, good communication. There were a number of guys in the infield that yelled, "Step off," and Chris stepped off.
Here's the 1-1.
You don't want to yell right away, there he goes, because sometimes the pitcher will panic and balk. So if you yell step off, a lot of times the catcher will do that. I'm sure John Baker was one of those yelling.
Meanwhile, Volstad has fallen behind Willingham. Slow roller towards short. Hanley gets the out, and the inning is over. So Volstad, high pitch count through 3 and trailing 2-0. Those New York Mets. And this weekend, the Marlins and the Mets will play 3. We have 2 of them on Friday and Sunday. Saturday night's game is a 6:10 start. The Marlins and the Mets. It has turned into quite a nice rivalry, especially the way the season has ended the last 2 years, with the Marlins knocking the Mets out of the postseason. In fact, Chris Volstad, who takes that fastball down low, remember the 3-game series in New York last year. Volstad won Friday night's game. The Marlins took 2 of 3 from the Mets. Sunday was the big game that everybody remembers, but Volstad pitched very well on the Friday night game.
Yeah, beat big right-hander Mike Pelfrey, and then Johan Santana came back and pitched a beauty on Saturday.
That was one of the best pitched games of the year by anybody, Santana's Saturday performance.
Friday night here, it'll be Anibal Sanchez against John Maine.
Well, broken back ground ball. Zimmerman cuts it off and flips across the diamond, and Volstad is out number 1. In the third, in a 2-0 game, the Nationals just trying to get a win in this series. The Marlins have won the first couple ball games.
And we talked about it, Rich, last night. The Sunday matchup that we'll have right here on Sun Sports, it'll be on, is Josh Johnson and Johan Santana. It's the final game of that Mets series.
That's going to be a good one. Here's Bonifacio. Bonifacio takes a strike. He had an interesting at-bat in the first. He walked on 4 pitches, and we were certain that he'd be breaking for second. But he didn't run. He was anchored at first when Baker struck out. He didn't run on the first pitch to Hanley Ramirez, and then Hanley rolled into a double play. And that was it for the Fish in the first. Little looper into left field. That's going to fall base hit. And Bonifacio is aboard. And I think that sequence, Tommy, in the first inning was a good indication. Bonifacio is not a finished product. He is a guy that is still learning his way in the big leagues.
Well, we've talked to a number of scouts about that, and they will tell you once he gets more refined, he'll be much more dangerous on the bases. All he's done, though, is go 7 for 11 now in his first 2+ games as a Marlin.
Here's Baker.
I don't think he's going to waste any time this time.
Not running, and Baker takes inside. Baker took a called third strike in the first. Nieves, there's Dunn, who's still getting used to first base. Nieves may be the best catch and throw guy that the Nationals have among their 3 catchers.
Of their 3, yeah.
Bonifacio away. Not running. Baker takes outside. Marlins have had base runners now in every inning.
First 2 games of this series, they had no problem coming up with that key base hit, that clutch hit. Haven't been able to get it quite yet today. A lot of time.
2-0 pitch. Not running, and Baker takes a rip, and it's 2-1. Daniel Cabrera. He's at 43 pitches. Chris Volstad has already thrown 58 pitches in his 3 innings, and that was one of the knocks on Cabrera, is he has a tendency to get into high pitch counts early in ball games.
And of the first 3 starters for the Marlins, you would say Chris Volstad would be the most efficient, but he hasn't been today.
Hanley's on deck. Bonifacio away from first. Let's see if he's running on the 2-1 pitch. Time called.
The one thing Cabrera's doing to kind of counter a little slowness to the plate, he's pausing, he's waiting, he's trying to freeze Bonifacio at first base.
If you don't have a great move, sometimes your best move is just holding the ball. Baker sends that one down the line, twisting and turning, foul. Nice play.
Nice catch.
Very nice. Sporting the teal. Look at that.
All right, didn't need a glove.
Used 2 hands.
Yeah.
Counts 2-2. He's running on the 2-2 pitch, and Baker fouls it at the plate. In his career, he's 10 of 15, and 3 of those came on opening day. But as we told you, he had a lot of stolen bases in the minor leagues. 233 in 5+ seasons in the minors. Running again. Pitch is high. Nieves' throw is higher, and it is into center field. Bonifacio races to third. And so the Marlins have it set up now with 1 out, and the count to Baker is full.
As a runner, when you take off and you pick up that stolen base, sometimes he takes a peek. It's not easy to pick up the baseball, but look how he turned his head, saw the ball trickle into shallow center field. Right there. He looks, he sees, he knows he has time to get to third base.
Infield's back. Baker with a full count, and Bonifacio at third. Chance to get on the board. And Baker smacks it into left field. That's a base hit. And the Fish cut the lead in half. And another example of what the Marlins want to do this year is bring speed into the equation.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario because you'd say, well, speed, but you know what? It created that whole thing. First off, the base hit, and then the stolen base created a rush throw from Nieves. He made the error, got Bonifacio to third, and all of a sudden, as a hitter, I'll tell you, you feel a lot more comfortable when you're up there with a man on third, the infield's back. It's a good feeling for a hitter.
So here's Hanley with Baker at first. Breaking ball for a strike. Now Hanley hit a 1-hopper that turned into a double play back in the first. Pokes that ball to right. Kearns is back, reaches up and makes the catch up against the wall. Boy, well hit. 385 feet from home plate.
Actually, Hanley's hit a couple of balls. Sorry, that double play ball, the one hopper to second, he hit well. That one hit hard, slicing, but well played by Austin Kearns, who got back and was able to pull it down just a couple of steps from the fence.
Kearns is a good defensive outfielder. I think that gets overlooked a lot with his power stroke and his offense.
Very good right fielder.
Yep.
Got a good arm.
Now here's Cantu, his second go round against Cabrera. Jorge fouls it back. Jorge, who really transformed himself last year, the offseason going into last year, he used that resistance training in Houston, the underwater training, and he went right back to work and had the same routine in the offseason this year. Of course, he had the big year in 2005 with Tampa Bay, 28 homers and 117 RBIs.
You know, aside from the 29 home runs last year, also 41 doubles.
Pops this one up. Willie Harris calls for it and makes the catch. But the Marlins are on the board. They do it with a little speed. Bonifacio on the move, and Baker brings him home. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, Marlins general manager. Michael Hill joins us now. Good start to the season so far. You guys have to be pretty pleased with what you've seen so far.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
And the you know, the tweaks that you guys wanted to make in the offseason, not an extreme makeover, but you wanted more speed, you wanted a little more defense. The speed certainly has shown up with Bonifacio at the top of the order.
Oh, definitely. He is. He's been as advertised, and I think we just got an example of what his speed can do to affect a game.
We've been trying to give our description. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen from Chris Volstad today.
Well, you looked at him in the first couple innings. He looked a little uncomfortable out there. When you think about Chris and the success that he's had, he gets into a rhythm and he keeps pumping strikes into the strike zone. And as you saw him early, had trouble finding the strike zone. Looked like he was up in the zone, but now he looks like he's more comfortable now and able to get the ball down and pumping more strikes.
Austin Kearns, Willie Harris, Will Nieves in the fourth. And Volstad, not a guy that shows a lot of emotion, but we've seen it a couple times, Tommy. He's been frustrated out there.
I think, as you guys see, just so far this inning, his tempo is already picked up here.
Yeah, you know, coming into this inning, just 7 of 14 first pitch strikes, and usually he's much better in that category.
Definitely unlike the Chris we've seen over the course of last season and through spring training.
The good news is, though, he's only given up a couple runs. Cody Ross comes in under that fly ball and makes the catch. And there's an out. It's going to bring Willie Harris up.
You had to love watching Josh Johnson last night, the way he pitched.
Definitely, and that's something that we've always preached here. Our starting pitching sets the tone, and no question about it. And opening day, what Ricky was able to accomplish going out and giving us the quality innings, and then followed up with JJ last night, and Foley off to a rough start early, but did the damage control he needed to do to keep us close, and we're going to stay close and get back in this.
That's a good point. We mentioned that when Chris came in. It was something we saw last year for a young pitcher, especially. He was able to minimize damage in innings when he got in a little jam.
No question. That's a sign of a quality starting pitcher, where you can minimize the damage, and you get some unfortunate plays. The play Cody had, a bad break on the ball to center field, and if he unravels there, that can really lead to a big inning.
1-1 pitch. Harris fouls it at the plate.
You know, he's actually used his changeup to Willie Harris better than any of the hitters in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that's what he's used to get himself down in the zone. You really have to get it extended through that changeup to get it down in the zone, and we saw it the last inning with Adam Dunn. He threw a couple good ones to Adam Dunn, and you started to really see him get that feel. So,
which is a great pitch for him to two left-handers.
No question, definitely a good pitch versus the big left-handers.
John Baker getting straightened out behind the plate, and Harris stands back in. 4th inning. Nationals got 2 runs in the first, and Harris goes after a high fastball. Bonifacio goes after it. Now Bonifacio certainly has lit up the South Florida scene the first 2 games with his speed, the inside the park homer, the triple. How have you seen his progress at third base just in the first 3 games here in the regular season?
It's all comfort level, and the more he gets out there, the more that he takes live at bats and plays it defensively, the more comfortable he's going to get. We knew when we signed him that he was a plus defender, great hands, good range, but it was a new position, so we knew that there was going to be some time for him to get comfortable. But every day has been an improvement for him.
Cantu gobbles up the ground ball. New feature this year, we always put our guests on the spot. We invite the Duck to join us. He brings this question for Michael Hill, who's the only Marlin to hit a home run in the first 3 games of a season. Now,
we don't want to put any pressure on you, but David Sampson got the answer to our question the other night.
I have to think a little bit about this.
This is a little tougher one, though.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to say Mike Lowell.
Think across the diamond.
How about D. Lee?
D. Lee? That's the answer. I was thinking back to the year when Mike Lowell always got off the great starts in April, and I remember he had a number of home runs early. But Derek Lee, okay, should have thought a little longer.
See Jorge Cantu with home runs in the first 2 games.
Volstad out in front. Here's the 0-2.
Hopefully a third for Jorge as well.
Absolutely.
And I think you look at Jorge there, and we spoke about Bonifacio at third. I think overall our infield defense is much improved with just that subtle switch to bring Jorge over to first base.
He's comfortable over there, isn't he?
He is, and a true professional. You can put him anywhere, first or third, and you know he's going to give you a professional effort. But he's just, he's a plus defender at third base. You get Bonifacio over to third, and we've already improved our team defense in the infield.
Outside corner, Volstad strikes out Will Nieves. Stick around, Michael Hill. The Marlins and the Nationals in the sunshine in South Florida. It is 2-1 Washington. Sports Florida is brought to you by Marooney. Hey, South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who you going to call? 1-877 Marooney. And by Checkers, little place, big taste. Dolphin Stadium, 70 degrees. Perfect day for baseball. 2-1 ball game. Bottom of the fourth. Marlins general manager Michael Hill hangs around for another half inning. A chance to see the Marlins swing the bats, and they've swung the bats very well in the first 2 games of this season. Got some big hits throughout this lineup. That one sent out to left field. Willingham tracking it, and Uggla's the first out here in the bottom of the fourth.
We were talking about facing a guy like Daniel Cabrera. Not a comfortable at bat.
No, not at all. And anyone who has a history on Cabrera, we just need to be patient, because he is notorious for throwing it all over the place, which we saw a little of early. So we just need to be patient, chip away, and get back into this.
This guy to play, Jeremy Hermida, certainly is a big key for the Marlins this year. People focus on Hanley Ramirez and Bonifacio and Maben. But if you can get a solid year out of Jeremy Hermida, that's a huge boost.
No question. We talk about balance in our lineup, and we wanted to put balance not just from a contact standpoint to counter all the home runs, the left-right balance of the lineup. And after the trade of Mike Jacobs, Jeremy and John Baker are 2 primary left-handed bats, so we're going to need both of those guys to be productive to give us a balanced lineup and a deep lineup throughout.
He's tinkered with his batting stance a little bit, more upright and a little more weight out on that front foot.
Am I correct in the assumption that we haven't seen the best Jeremy Hermida yet?
No. I think if we think back to the second half of 07, where we really saw him locked in, that's really the player who we think he is. Last year, you look at him and we think his swing got a little big. He tried to get into that home run a little too much.
Hermida gets into that one to center field. It's a big yard, and Elijah Dukes runs it down. 2 down.
But you'll see with Hermida, when Hermida's going well, he's up the middle, he's back through the gaps, and that's where we're hoping he'll get back to being comfortable.
The return of the Duck. Only Marlin to hit a home run the first 3 games of the season. And it's Derek Lee in 2002.
Can I have my disclaimer?
Yeah, Michael has a disclaimer. Go ahead.
I was not a part of the Marlins in 02, so.
You were with the Colorado Rockies?
I was in Colorado, so I cannot officially accept.
Well, we'll enlighten you on those home runs. Javier Vasquez, Tony Armas, and Carl Pavano, the 3 pitchers that he hit the home runs off of. The Carl Pavano one in the 3rd game of that trio was a 1-0 Brad Penny complete game.
Wow.
At Olympic Stadium.
Very good.
Wonder what they're doing at the Big O right now.
Maybe a monster truck show.
I think so.
Marty and Jerry are waiting for us.
Here's the 2-1. And it's inside to Cody Ross. Ross bounced into a fielder's choice back in the 2nd. Cody's hitting some tough luck early. Pops that one up. This could be interesting with Dunn making the catch. Michael Hill, thanks for stopping by. And we'll have a better question for you next time you're our guest.
My pleasure, guys.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Okay.
2-1 ball game. Nationals on top. Press the SAP button on your remote
Daniel
or your
Cabrera.
set, and
Altísimo.
magically Raul and Cookie will appear just like that. Hi,
There
guys.
you go.
Hi, Richie,
Abracadabra.
Tommy, how are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, Cookie, who was an uncomfortable pitcher for you to face? Because we've been talking about Cabrera. He's an uncomfortable at bat.
All of them. That's the truth. I've never felt comfortable with a home plate.
Come on, Cookie.
Now, when you're talking about Nolan Ryan, you know, when he started his career with the Mets, and he was throwing 100 miles an hour, definitely, you know, when you step into the play, you start having a little bit of fear the way he threw the ball.
I heard that about J.R. Richard as well.
Yes.
Oh, he was
another one,
He was a
JR.
murderer. Wow, what a kind of stuff, and what a slider. Unbelievable, you're right.
Did you ever face Bob Gibson?
Yes, I have.
How many times did Gibson hit you?
No, he didn't have to. He says he was worrying about the big guys, the Dick Allens.
That's right.
He didn't want to put me on. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
He didn't want to abuse, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, have a good show.
Hey,
You too, guys.
All right, Christian Guzman following Daniel Cabrera, who struck out again. You know, Cabrera, we're talking about making the transition from the American League to the National League. Cabrera is now 0 for 16 in his career, and all 16 0-fers are strikeouts.
He's consistent. Yeah, you mentioned J.R. Richard was 6'8" as well. A big right-hander with the Houston Astros.
You know, had he not had a stroke, he could have dominated the game just like Nolan Ryan.
If you're a real fan of the game, Google his statistics, and for a 5-6 year period, you'll see some unbelievable numbers.
Yes. And he suffered a stroke and never was able to regain that form or get back into that spot.
Cookie brought up an interesting memory when he mentioned Nolan Ryan when Ryan was with the Mets. Early in my career with the Dodgers in a spring training game, we flew over to St. Pete where the Mets and Cardinals trained. Part of the club, the group I was with, the B team, we had a B game against the Mets on a back field at like 10:30 in the morning.
Oh.
And we had to face Nolan Ryan, who had I want to say he had 11 strikeouts in the first 4 innings. It was unbelievable.
Chris Volstad really has locked in now. He struck out the last 3 guys he's faced. He's retired 6 in a row, and he's kept this ball game at 2-1. There's Elijah Dukes.
You know, the amazing thing here, Chris Volstad started out not on the top of his game. That strikeout was number 7. And for Chris in his early career, that's a career high. 7 strikeouts. But the key, he's been able to get ahead. And then you saw how he was able to put Guzman away with that good curveball.
Volstad, number 3 in the starting rotation. His pitch count at 85. He was at 58 pitches through 3 innings. So if he can get through the 5th under 90, then he's got a shot to come out and pitch the 6th. Early in the season, managers across baseball wary of pitch counts, very careful when you get to 100.
106 last night for Josh Johnson.
And a lot of that is simply because pitchers in spring training gradually work up to that 100 pitch mark or right around there. And you see in the game today, early in the season, managers don't want to extend those guys much past 100 pitches. Oof.
Ricky Nolasco, speaking of pitch counts, one of 2 pitchers in baseball last year to throw over 130 pitches. But to show you how durable he is, the 130 pitch performance preceded his first complete game of the year, of his career.
Volstad thought he had a strike 3 and then missed with that curveball. And so here comes Zimmerman. Zimmerman, a guy that always has had the knack of the big hit against the Marlins. A couple of walk-off homers against the Fish. One was a grand slam. Remember that? It was like at 1:45 in the morning after that 3-hour rain delay He had a 4th of July walk-off single, I believe, against the Fish as well.
Yeah, 4 career home runs against the Marlins, 28 RBIs, and a young career just starting. 24 years old is Ryan Zimmerman.
Dukes can run at first, and Volstad chases him back. Zimmerman has opened this season 0 for 11. Throw to first. Actually, remember the ball that he hit at Bonifacio that went right by him? Bonifacio was given an error. They changed that yesterday, so Zimmerman does have a hit. So he's got a double. Runner goes. Baker's throw is in time. Got him. Nice sweep tag by Ugla. John Baker throws out his first runner of the season. Inning over here in the 5th. 2-1 Nationals. Tight ball game here. The Nationals on top. Dolphin Stadium in Miami, home of the Florida Marlins. Not for long with the new ballpark set to open in 2012, and a line shot in the left field. Ross Glode with a base hit.
If you're wondering what kind of a hitter Ross Glode is, you saw it right there. He's a line drive guy that will use the entire field. He hit a deep fly ball to center field his first time up. This is just a pretty swing. Line shot, takes that fastball the other way, and I think will be a nice addition to this Marlins roster.
Good short stroke, and now that sets up nicely with Volstad up as he'll try to bunt him over. Volstad drops it down. That's nice stuff. It wasn't a perfect bunt, but it did the trick. So now Glode is in scoring position. Bonifacio in the top of the order come around.
By the way, Rich, Ross Glode, with his experience in the American League, came into the game 5 for 15 against Cabrera. So he's now 6 for 17 against Daniel Cabrera.
A lot of things work for him coming into this role. He's a good pinch hitter. He was able to DH some in the American League, so he's used to being able to hit without playing defensively in the game. And he can play first and the outfield. Bonifacio has walked, singled, stolen a base, and scored. And he pulls a breaking ball. Dunn makes the play. That could be an adventure over there at first base if Adam Dunn gets some time this year as he tries to feel his way around a position he hasn't played a whole lot.
Well, you know that more than likely they want him in the outfield and Nick Johnson over at first. Nick Johnson's Gold Glove caliber first baseman.
Here's Baker now. Baker provided the Marlins' only run in the third. A line drive single to left to drive in Bonifacio, and Cabrera misses outside. Here's a spot where you think Baker's going to get something good to hit simply because Hanley Ramirez is on deck. Although Cabrera hasn't shown him anything, and he's fallen behind 2-0.
And Hanley's hit a couple of balls very hard.
You would think if you were Cabrera, you would go right after Baker.
Yet John Baker drove in a run in the third with a line drive base hit.
And he was thinking fastball there. 92 miles an hour. Bake has a couple hits on this homestand. There's Glode. Curveball comes far enough for a strike.
You know, they don't expect John Baker to pull the ball. You see the center fielder shading him into left center. Right fielder pulled way over. Austin Kearns into right center. And as an outfielder, you can even take a step or two more in that direction once the count gets to 2 strikes on a hitter, because he's going to wait a little more. There's that outfield. Kearns is well over. He's in right center field, basically. And he moved a step or two after it got to a 2-strike count.
2-2. Ball in the dirt, and not far enough for Glode to move from third. So the count full now, 3-2 with 2 outs. Hanley waits. Washington jumped to a 2-0 lead in the first. Baker single brought a run across in the third. And Nieves is out to the mound. Baker at the plate. Now on Monday, remember Bonifacio leading things off with a single to right. Off to the races he went. Baker drove him in. That one over the head of Dunn. Today in the third inning, very similar situation.
Bonifacio gets a base hit, steals second base, line drive into left field in front of Josh Willingham, scoring. Bonifacio,
Baker up the middle.
No sooner could we get you to that, we get you to live action and another John Baker RBI base hit.
Scoring Ross Glode. So John Baker has a pair of RBI hits, and the Marlins have tied this game 2-2.
Let's see what this pitch is. It's a curveball, but just trying to get it over, and it's middle of the plate, about thigh high. And John Baker with a nice swing, couple of left-handers producing a run. Ross Glode with the base hit that got things started. And a nice sac bunt by Chris Volstad, too.
And now Hanley gets another look at Cabrera, and as Tommy pointed out, he's hit the ball hard twice. He's hit the ball hard 3 times. That's a base hit. And here comes Cantu now with runners first and second and 2 outs.
Ball might have just snuck in on his hands a little bit, but look at how Hanley brought way too much and still hit it hard.
So Cantu against Cabrera. And it's a battle that Cabrera has won twice. He struck him out in the second. He popped him up in the third. Ouch. Up and in. And Cantu is hurting.
And that's why this guy's not a comfortable at bat at all, because he has many times not an idea where the ball is going to go.
Oh, that's never good. when it hits you in the hand. Cantu is one of those guys that does wear the elbow protection, but there's nothing you really can wear on your hand.
He's pointing up top there.
Sean Cunningham, the head trainer for the Fish, is out there. Freddie Gonzalez came out to see him as well.
Boy, that ball just rode inside. No chance to get out of the way. The sight is bad enough. The sound you can hear. Now remember, Ross Glode's in the game, but is in right field. He can play first base. There's some options Freddie has if he chooses to bring Jorge out. Georgie, what they call him, his teammates call him, he doesn't want to come out of the game.
Yeah, well, the real test is going to be if he goes out there defensively, how he feels, or if he has to grip a bat. You got Wes Helms that can play at first. You got Andy Gonzalez who can play at first as well. So there's a lot of options. The Marlins, though, with an opportunity. Ugla with the bags juiced. And Cabrera misses high. And this is the battle that Tommy talked about. You got a fastball pitcher and a great fastball hitter.
Well, we talked about Hanley never hitting a grand slam. Dan Ugla.
Fastball, line drive, right field. That's a base hit. That's going to get to the wall. Baker will score. Hanley will score. Cantu will score. Dan Ugla.
That's the kind of approach you love to see in that bases loaded situation. Instead of trying to just air it out and go deep, you stay back, you get a nice pitch, you drive it hard. If you get a beauty of a pitch, then you hit the grand slam. But that fastball was there. Dan Ugla with a beautiful swing. Love to see him drive in those runs.
Our checkers, double of the game, clears the bases. Here's Hermida now.
And we also love it when it's our checkers double of the game.
Boy, big hit. And that prompts the Nationals bullpen to start getting busy. Bouncer in the dirt, Nieves. Glove save and a beauty. So Ugla smacking one into right center field. That's one of the areas that as Ugla progresses in his big league career, Jim Presley has talked to him about spending a little more time driving the ball that way. Taking pitches on the outside part and driving them to right center.
One of Dan's little goals this year is to score 100 runs and drive in 100 runs. And he will drive in 100 runs if he continues with that approach in those situations.
He's got 5 RBIs now on the season. So a 5-2 ball game. There's a soft ground ball. Harris to his left on the outfield grass just in time to get Hermida. But the Marlins with a big 2-out rally. Ross Glode started it. Baker drove him home. Hanley kept it going. Ugla finished it off. by Dan Ugla with a bases loaded, bases clearing double. And look who has arrived. Andrew Miller takes over for Chris Volstad. And so Miller comes in out of the bullpen. Zimmerman tries to drop down a bunt, and it's foul. It's 0-1.
Well, Andrew last year in his 29 games, 20 were starts. So 9 times he came out of the bullpen. A little more used to it than Anibal Sanchez, and that's why Freddie made this move. And this is a great move to get him in this game, get some work, and he started Zimmerman off with a strike. And that's the whole key for him, especially with the new little delivery and the adjustments that he made in spring training.
Zimmerman goes up and gets one and drives that ball off the wall in left field. Hermida to second, and Zimmerman has himself a double. Out in left field, that's where you'll find Frank Fort. Frank?
All right, thanks very much, Rich. We know about fans putting up Ks for pitchers for strikeouts, but this is something new, Qs, and it stands for quick outs. When a Marlin pitcher records an out in 3 pitches or less. And the brainchild behind this is Nancy Olson, the executive director of the Marlins Community Foundation. What are we trying to accomplish with this, Nancy?
Well, you know, we're always trying to be creative in terms of the way we raise money. So we are looking for a sponsor that begins with Q to make a donation to the foundation every time there's a Q at the ball game.
All right.
And I really got this idea from my brother Bob, who lives in Arizona. He had seen it at a Diamondbacks game, and everybody was having such a good time with it. He said, you ought to try it. So we debuted it last night, and we're back today, and we're having lots of fun.
And that was a cue right there, a 1-pitch out recorded on the line drive to Jorge Cantu. So
Go ahead,
get your volunteers going here.
Frank,
get that
put
cue
the
up.
Let's go.
There we go.
Come on.
Teal cue is for the relief pitcher. The starter gets the white,
Okay.
and the relief pitcher gets a teal. So we keep track of quick outs, and as you know, guys, you know, pitch counts are very important these days. You want to record those outs as quickly as possible. Well, good luck with this, Nancy. And you got some volunteers helping you.
Yeah, we've got a great group of people up here, and I was up here last night. We got a couple home run balls. It's fun up here in this left field corner.
All right, so we're up here in left field, guys, recording not the Ks. We'll leave that for some of the other fans. We've got the Qs. Rich, back to you, and that's your cue.
So does the sponsor have to start with Q? Or maybe, I mean, that you're limiting yourself there. Maybe just a Q in the name?
Yeah, Rich was wondering, does the sponsor have to start with Q, or will first come, first serve do?
They don't have to start with Q. We beggars aren't choosy, so as long as they want to support the Cornerstones for Kids programs, hey, we'll go for it.
There you go, Rich. Anybody is welcome to sponsor the Qs out here in left.
All right, stuff. And you know, those cues are a pitching coach's delight.
Oh,
too.
Mark Wiley, he should be the first contributor. He should write the check.
Yeah, see, there's a variety that you could go, you know, Quaker State or Quiznos.
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen, that's a good one. Andrew Miller walking. Josh Willingham. And here comes Austin Kearns now.
Q-tips.
Quicken Loans. That is the arena in Cleveland, you're right.
What, Q-tips?
No, Quicken Loans. Qualcomm. Austin Kearns. Andrew Miller misses up.
Let's be careful with banks nowadays.
Yeah. This is really for the Marlins the first real test of the bullpen in a tight game, in the middle of the game. Now Miller joins the starting rotation on the 15th of April, but obviously he's out of the pen here, and it's bullpen from here on out.
And if you didn't, you may have read a lot about it, but if you didn't see Andrew Miller in the spring, less across the body, a more direct line to the plate is the simple way to put his delivery, the way he's tried to change it.
And that's not easy to do when you've been pitching that way all of your life. When you think about an athlete that has done something for 20-some years, you know, ever since he picked up a baseball, that's how he's thrown it. He won the Roger Clemens Award at North Carolina as the Pitcher of the Year of the NCAA. He did it that way across his body. First round pick of the Tigers, all of that. But he wanted more consistency, and the Marlins wanted more consistency out of him, and the way to do it was to refine that motion.
That's a good point, because people are saying, well, why did he change if he's always done it that way? Well, it's a little different when you're pitching in college and getting through the lower minor leagues. But to stay consistent and to get hitters out consistently up here, that change was necessary.
2-2. Yikes.
We've seen mid-90s fastballs so far. And when he has that working with his sharp breaking ball, as we pointed out last night, I believe it's April 15th, he'll be making his first start of the season.
Two. Didn't miss by much. Yeah, it tailed inside. Movement can help you and it can hurt you. Full count. And he lost him. Bags are loaded now with 1 out. First Super Saturday is coming up on the 11th. And it's the Mets and the Marlins. You got Pitbull, DJ Laz, and Flo Rida, and a fireworks spectacular. The Marlins take on the Mets at 6:10. Fans can get light up thunder sticks courtesy of State Farm Insurance. 1-877-Marlins.
Tough day for the pitchers today. We talked about coming into this game, the first 2 games of the season. 18 innings. The Marlins staff had walked just 1. Well, 6 walks today, 4 by Chris Volstad and 2 from Andrew Miller.
Ronnie Belliard has a bat and he is standing on deck, and I think Freddie is waiting to see if he's announced or not. Kiko Calero is ready, and yes, Belliard has been announced. You got to wait as a manager. Sometimes they'll send a guy out there as a decoy to see if you'll make the change. Andrew Miller's coming out. Calero's coming in. Double switch going on. Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck, or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Carroll comes into the ball game in right field. Ross Glode goes from right field over to left. Carroll will be hitting in the pitcher spot. Jeremy Hermida is out, and the pitcher, Kiko Calero, will reside at least temporarily in the 6th spot.
Yeah, and you brought up the point that Freddie Gonzalez had to kind of wait and see what Manny Acta was going to do. As soon as the official announcement was made, Belliard pinch hitting for the left-handed bat of Willie Harris, then Freddie made his move to the bullpen to bring in the right-hander, Kiko Calero. He comes in this situation with 1 out, bases loaded.
Carlos Tosca, bench coach. Always nice to have a guy that has managed in the big leagues as your bench coach. Tosca, of course, had a nice run in Toronto. Ronnie Belliard coming up for the Nationals now. So the bags are loaded.
Manny Acta has a nice bench coach, former Major League manager.
And a good one, Jim Riggleman. Infield looks for 2 with 1 out in the 6th. And this is the first real test of the season for the Marlins bullpen. Kiko Calero, he of the good slider. Zimmerman singled. And then Willingham and Kearns walked. Zimmerman's hit actually a double. Andrew Miller could not throw strikes. Belliard waits. Calero fires a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Calero is 34, out of Puerto Rico, but went to college, junior college, and college here in Miami. Miami-Dade Junior College and St. Thomas University.
And big league experience with St. Louis, with Oakland, and a smart pitcher.
Very dependable guy in Oakland's bullpen as a middle reliever in 2005 and 2006. 114 appearances combined, and his ERA combined those 2 years was 3.30. 1-2 on a very good hitter, Belliard. Went after the slider, and he got him.
Yeah, you look at the career numbers that Kiko Calero has put together. 246 games as a major league pitcher and an ERA of 3.56. So he can pitch at this level. A lot of it because of that nasty slider and because of his smartness out there.
Josh Bard is probably going to pinch hit here for the Nationals as he's emerged on deck.
You mentioned the couple of years that Kiko Calero had with the Athletics back in 04 with St. Louis. 41 games, a 3-1 record, and a 2.78 ERA.
He's one of the unsung heroes in baseball, the middle relievers. I'm not talking about even the 8th inning guys get good pub now.
Eighth inning guys are starting to get songs now.
Yes. But you're talking about the guys that are 5th, 6th, 7th inning guys that have to bridge the gap between a starter that can't deliver the game into the 8th.
How about the Padres for the first time in over a decade going to Heath Bell? So the bell tolled last night, actually, for San Diego.
I don't think he's got the same song as Trevor Hoffman, which is one of the great entrance songs in all of sports.
And Trevor Hoffman enters this season with Milwaukee, but on the disabled list.
See, that won't be the same. Hell's Bells in Milwaukee won't be the same as it was in San Diego.
And I can't picture him coming out to the Beer Barrel Polka.
The first gongs going off of that song by AC/DC, the doors used to open up perfectly in San Diego, and he would come through, and the place would just go bananas. Bard hits it out to left field. That's glowed, and he makes the catch, and the bullpen passes their first test here in 2009. Kiko Calero pitches out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam. 5-2 Fish. Dan Uggla provided the lead, and Kiko Calero protected the lead. And here are the two pitches, his two out pitches.
The slider, which we talked about, his out pitch, gets Belliard chasing. And then Josh Bard, maybe thinking slider, he sneaks a fastball in, just ties him up a little bit, and gets the fly ball to left field.
The Marlins hoping that Scott Proctor returns, and Proctor and Calero will be two veterans that the Marlins are going to really count on out of that bullpen. Bard stays behind the plate. Cody Ross digs in. And Daniel Cabrera still out there for the Nationals.
And Belliard stays in at second base.
Cody's still looking for his first hit of the season. Cabrera at times has looked like it would come off the tracks, but he held it together until the fifth, when the Marlins got a two-out single by John Baker to score a run, and then Uggla cleaned up a bases loaded situation with a double into the gap in right center field.
Cody Ross trying to get it on track. He had such a terrific spring, hit over 360, had 14 RBIs, but he's gotten off to an 0 for 10 start. Nobody wants to do that. You always like to mix in a hit or two early.
And a swing and a miss. Down goes Ross. Fish Friday with the Mets here at 7:10. You can pick up a CBS 4 for $54 pack and play Billy Bingo, presented by Stanley, for your chance to win one of 100 autographed World Baseball Classic baseballs. 1-877 Marlins. Visit marlins.com.
You always wonder what Santa did in the off season. Attends Marlins baseball games.
Yeah, I think he's got a condo out in Fort Lauderdale.
Starts rustling the elves around, make sure they get to work.
Yeah, he's a little slimmer now than in the regular season.
Another well-hit ball by Ross Gload.
And Gload is out by just a step. He's had some impressive at-bats. He singled back in the fifth.
Mrs. Claus at home doing the baking right now.
Oh, I think she's shopping. I think when Santa's down at the condo, Mrs. Claus is out on Las Olas.
Maybe at the Tommy Bahama store.
Might be. Brett Carroll takes a breaking ball high. Carroll, his first at bat came in the double switch. We've seen Brett Carroll in every game so far this year, and that's a nice role for him. He's the best defensive outfielder the Marlins have. He can play all three spots and play them very well. One of the things that he wants to work on this year, plate discipline. He'd like to be a little more selective at the plate.
And as we've mentioned, he earned his spot on this roster. He had a good spring, showed that he was healthy.
The old
swung the bat well.
The old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way.
He earned it. Well, I mean, there are some guys, first-round draft picks, top prospects. A lot of times they'll make a club simply, because they got nobody else. But a guy like Carroll, when you go into spring training and you're competing for a spot, much like Jorge Cantu last year at third base, that would be strike three called. And that would be a 1-2-3-6 for Daniel Cabrera. But the Marlins have the lead in this one. It's 5-2. 65 range. Where do you think they will finish this year? FSFloridaTV.com. FSFloridaTV.com is the place to go.
Boy, a lot of changes, and I think it shows the versatility that Freddie Gonzalez has this year. Ross Glode plays his third position in this game. He comes in from left, and he's at first base now. Brett Carroll moves over to left field, and Cameron Maben comes into the game in center field, moving Cody Ross back over to right.
It's also an indication of the pain that Jorge Cantu must have in his left hand.
Some of these changes, good news, and some of them, yeah, make you think about that shot that Jorge took off the hand. Hope he's all right.
Lasting's Millage faces Kiko Calero, a slider at the knees for a strike. Millage hitting in the pitcher's spot. Rough first two nights for Millage. He was 0 for 4 last night with a couple of strikeouts, and 0 for 4 with 2 more strikeouts in game 1. And of course, he had that inside the park home run go over his head, and then last night the triple by Bonifacio glance off of his glove. Guzman to follow. Calero buries that slider. We'll try to get you an update as quickly as we can on Jorge Cantu. Two to Millage. Whoa. Just a bit up. We check in with Frank Fort. Frank?
All right, guys, I was just heading back down here to our first base position in the hallway. Jorge Cantu passed him and assistant trainer Mike Kozak. They were going into the clubhouse, obviously, to do more tests and start a treatment. So Jorge not only out of the game, but he's back in the clubhouse right now with the assistant trainer.
That was the pitch that hit Cantu.
A fastball tailing up and in. The hope is there's nothing broken.
Outside corner, Calero gets a strikeout. Millage not real pleased with C.B. Buckner.
But Mark Wiley and Freddie Gonzalez pleased with Kiko Calero.
No kidding. The Marlins franchise has had a nice run of being able to find relief pitchers who are out there trying to bounce back from an injury or an off season. They did it last year with Doug Wechter and Joe Nelson, Joe Borowski. We talked the other night about Todd Jones. Lee Gardner, another name.
Gardy was a bulldog type out of the bullpen. Yeah, the Marlins have just found a way to find those guys. And speaking of bullpen, today, regardless of the score, regardless of the need, Freddie was going to use Matt Lindstrom.
Yes.
So it could turn out that he brings him into a game to get the save. But he needs to get Lindstrom out there for an inning.
Pretty good changeup. Two and two. Guzman's had a hot series. 6 hits and 12 trips. Oh, the slider.
Wow.
He's faced 4. He has struck out 3.
The delight of everyone on the Marlins side is to see a pitcher come in out of the bullpen and just go right after hitters. Just spotted that slider, little back door in the outside corner. I'll tell you another pitcher who did a nice job, not last year, the year before, Justin Miller.
Yes.
Another guy kind of brought off from injuries, cast aside by other clubs.
Dan Meyer, the lefty, getting ready in the bullpen. And certainly Meyer will be needed this weekend with the Mets in town. Ball's hit to left, and it's hit pretty well. Carroll goes back to the track, and he makes the catch right in front of Charlie Huff. Nice inning by Kiko Calero. 1, 2, 3 go the Nationals. Olstad trying to work out the wrinkles after the Nationals got a couple runs.
Yeah, and Rich, it was nice to see him work out those wrinkles at career-high 7 strikeouts. Then some nice base hits. John Baker providing a couple of RBIs with singles. And Emilio Bonifacio scoring the big hit, the bases-clearing double by Dan Uggla. Gives the Marlins the lead that they have right now, 5-2. And that was a good piece of hitting by Daniel.
So Uggla and the Fish going to the bottom of the 7th, up by 3. And Daniel Cabrera's day is done. He goes 6 innings, top of the order. Bonifacio looks to bunt. A Mike Hinckley breaking ball. And it's a called strike. Hinckley has had an incredible run since getting to the big leagues last year. Look at that. Last year, in his big league debut, 14 games, did not give up a run. He pitched on Monday and pitched a scoreless inning. He still has not given up a run in his big league career, 15 appearances. And Bonifacio finds that spot in right center field.
That's absolutely amazing. That's exactly where he got his first 2 base hits in the opening game of the season against lefty John Lannon. And that's a great sign, because that tells you against the lefty, he's staying back. He's not jumping out, going to roll over, and he's going to try to drive the ball the other way. So another base hit. And for Bonnie, his 8th base hit of the year already.
He's got a 3-game hitting streak. He's only 8 for 12 this year. That's it. Hinckley trying to pick off Bonifacio, and he has to make sure he doesn't pick off Adam Dunn here as well, because Dunn not an experienced first baseman.
He's got a nice lead. Anytime you see a player get to the point where he's near the edge where that grass cuts back in, he's got a big lead.
Hinckley comes to the plate. He throws a strike to John Baker.
See where that grass is right in here? He gets himself all the way out there. And that's a big lead. A little bit more. A little bit more.
Slow breaking ball, and it's outside.
Remember the old AstroTurf fields, the cutouts. The speedy base runners would get a foot onto the AstroTurf. You have 1 foot on the dirt. The guys we were talking about last night, the Vince Colemans and Willie McGee's.
That misses outside, and it's 2-1. And Hinckley obviously worried about Bonifacio. And Baker at the plate. 13,308 the attendance here this afternoon. A bigger lead for Bonifacio. And a throw over to first. Can you get a little bit bigger lead facing a left-hander than, say, a righty?
It depends on what type of lead. If a lot of runners, in order to see a move, will get what they call a one-way lead, knowing that they're going to go back to the bag, but they want to see that pitcher go over. And then sometimes when they're going to steal, their lead isn't quite as big.
Counts 2-2. Baker turns to CB Buckner. It's not an easy spot to hit in when you've got a guy at first base who's thinking about stealing second. Ball in the dirt. He's at second now.
But John Baker can handle it.
Yes.
And that's why he fits that bill. He does everything you want for a number 2 hitter except run. He doesn't have speed.
Which is amazing because oftentimes that spot and what you just described is a veteran hitter, a guy that's been in the big leagues and has learned how to do that. Baker arrived in the big leagues ready to do that.
One of the best years ago, and Lou Brock credited Ted Sizemore for being that number 2 hitter.
Baker's aboard. Johnny with a couple of RBI hits and now a walk. That's going to bring Hanley Ramirez up, but I don't think he's going to face Mr. Hinckley. And his streak of 15 consecutive appearances to start his big league career without allowing a run is in a little bit of jeopardy. He's going to need some help from his bullpen. So the Nationals go to their pen. Marlins up 5-2 and threatening in the 7th. Are Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call?
Saul Rivera in out of the pen. He's kind of the last reliever standing from last year's bullpen.
Yeah, very versatile, very a steady guy out of that bullpen.
Hanley's up with runners at first and second. And he smacks one into left field. Base hit. Bonifacio off to the races around third. No chance to get him. It's 6-2. Hanley has his second hit and his 6th RBI of the season. And the Marlins stretch their lead.
Boy, the number 3 hitter producing on that first pitch and driving in Bonifacio, who has scored 6 runs already. There's a solid swing on a fastball. Rivera, a fastball slider guy, similar to Kiko Calero. But Hanley jumps on the first pitch fastball. Good swing. He's had good swings all day.
Now Cameron Maben, remember he came in for the injured Jorge Cantu. If you weren't with us, Cantu was hit on the hand by Daniel Cabrera. A high fastball.
So there's that first run that Mike Hinckley has allowed as a major leaguer.
In his big league career.
Deep down he knew it wouldn't last.
That's quite a run. You know, pitching for a team like the Nationals last year, who lost over 100 games. To go 14 appearances and not give up anything. Hanley's at first. Baker, who's been on base all day long, is at second. And Maben shortens the bunt, drops it down. It's a foul ball. Zimmerman trying to get back to the bag. That's always an awkward move for a third baseman, because Zimmerman, number one, doesn't want to trip on the bag, and he doesn't want to get tangled up with the base runner. But he also wants to make the catch and try to get the out. Watch this.
Yeah, you start backpedaling and then reaching and looking and hoping you find the bag. You put on a pretty good dance exhibition. Some good moves, good footwork by Ryan Zimmerman.
Nobody out. Run across in the 7th. Maben drops it down. Nicely done. Rivera's throw. Almost a little too high for the diminutive Belliard. Up comes Ugla now. It's a Super Saturday plan in 2009. The 15-game Super Saturday plan for as little as $12 a game. All the Super Saturdays. Got the post-game concerts, the fireworks, autograph sessions, giveaways. 1-877-MARLINS. Or visit marlins.com today.
Well, they're going to walk Dan Ugla. The pitcher spot is up next. So Kiko Calero due up. Looks like Wes Helms moved into the on-deck circle. So Dan will not get a chance to add to his RBI total of 3 today.
And 5 on the season. Helms, in a pinch hitting role the other night, hit a rocket to right that was caught at the base of the wall, 390 feet away, into the teeth of the wind.
Well, Wes did a terrific job pinch hitting last year. 13 pinch hits, hit 317 as a pinch hitter, with 9 pinch hit RBIs.
And in this case, a fly ball will do as well, because with just 1 out, if he put the ball in the air and get it in the outfield, he could drive in a run. Logan Kensing in the pen right now. Oh, 0-1, Baker. He walked after the Bonifacio single. Hanley scored Bonifacio with his base hit. Ugla was walked intentionally after the Maben bunt. Ground ball might be 2. Got 1 there, got 2 there. And the inning ends with just a run across. The Marlins stretch the lead on a Hanley Ramirez RBI single.
week when it's getting warmer and the fish are starting to spawn?
I hit the ball far, but sometimes straight, sometimes not. Most of the time pretty straight, but that has to be the key to my game. Golf is a hustle sport too, I think.
The misadventures of Logan and JJ. Now, when we get to Atlanta next Tuesday, make sure you're with us early for Marlins Live. That's when we're going to debut the 2009 edition of the misadventures of Logan and JJ. Logan Kensing is into the ball game, and the Marlins bullpen so far so good, with Kiko Calero bailing Andrew Miller out. Miller lasted just a third of an inning in relief of Chris Volstad, but Calero did the heavy lifting, got 2 outs in the 6th and all 3 outs in the 7th. And the 8th belongs to Kensing. Ryan Zimmerman, Adam Dunn, and Josh Willingham for the Nationals, who had a 2-0 lead, their only lead of the series, to open this ball game. Marlins got a run back in the 3rd and then pushed across 4 in the 5th. A 3-run double by Dan Uggla, the big blow. A couple of John Baker RBI singles as well. Baker doesn't see this one. Bonifacio comes in and he makes the catch.
Oh, nicely done, because it looked like John Baker finally picked it up and was going to make the catch. But all of a sudden, the guy who has a little easier angle and doesn't have all that equipment, Emilio Bonifacio, called him off. You can see John peel off. Big peel back. Bonifacio put it away. Good communication.
And a much better glove for catching pop-ups than those catcher's gloves. Dunn is up. Shift is on. Slider by Kensing is a strike. Adam Dunn hit one of the longer home runs we may see this year. In fact, the Nationals in this series have hit 2 of the longer homers you're going to see in this ballpark. Austin Kearns went into the upper tank left field about 6-7 rows up, and then Dunn sent one, I'd say about 20 rows up in right field when he got into one the other night. Look at the career numbers. Dunn against Kensing. Do you think both guys are aware of those numbers?
You know, Dunn is, they're probably both aware that he's taken him deep a couple of times. Maybe not that he's 2 for 2.
With 2 homers.
Yeah, with 2 home runs. Logan would probably say, yeah, he's hit me real good. Good slider, though. Keeps that slider there, it might be a different story.
Kensing has shown flashes of being able to be a dependable bullpen guy, a bridge, so to speak. Had his Tommy John surgery in 2006. Pretty good pitch.
Remember the slider down and in. He spots that fastball and just did miss. See if he stays out there or comes back with that slider down and in.
He's going to miss with that pitch to Dunn. That's not a bad place to miss. Lost him. So Dunn is aboard. And now 2 guys who know each other very well.
See, this is a situation where you've got a 4-run lead. You have to make better pitches 3-2. I don't care if it's Adam Dunn or Babe Ruth. You got to throw him strikes. All of a sudden, if you walk somebody, a little base hit, another walk, all of a sudden the Nationals have the tying run to the plate.
Willingham smacks it out into center field. Maven around it and makes the catch. There's 2 outs. Hammer has gone 0 for 2 in his return to Dolphin Stadium. But hit that one pretty well. Here comes Austin Kearns.
And that's a nice comeback by Logan, just to go right after Josh Willingham.
It should be getting started in Philadelphia here in about a half an hour. The Braves and the Phillies. Braves have taken the first 2 games of that series. Of course, the Mets are here on Friday night for a 3-game series. They'll finish this homestand. The Mets and the Reds tonight. It's Mike Pelfrey against Edinson Volquez in Cincinnati.
How about the 3rd starter for the Houston Astros going tonight?
That was one of the games.
Still going strong.
Yeah. Brian Moeller against Ted Lilly. How about the 3rd starter, actually the 2nd starter for the San Francisco Giants, Randy Johnson.
Big unit. 5 wins shy of 300.
I wonder how you slot. I mean, I wonder if Bruce Bochy, and I haven't read in depth on this, if with Barry Zito in that rotation, how he's going to use Johnson and Zito. Does he use them back to back? Does he put a Matt Cain in between them? You got Jonathan Sanchez.
They're both lefties, but they're different lefties. Zito and the big unit.
Then you got a Jonathan Sanchez as well at the back of that rotation. Well, Kensing has lost Austin Kearns. Carlos Tosca, the keeper of the scorecard. Alberto Gonzalez, a reserve infielder, is going to hit here for the Nationals. And we check in with Frank Ford. Frank?
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Just want to tip you off. Our very first Inside the Marlins show of this season will debut a week from Saturday. That's the 18th. It's called Catching, Backbone of the Team. And you're going to see a lot of this guy. That's Tim Cousins, the Marlins catching coordinator. He's responsible for development and improvement of catchers from the top of the organization all the way to rookie ball. John Baker's worked a lot with him. That's one reason he's improved the defense. We'll talk to the Marlins catchers. How did they start catching? What do they like or dislike about the position? And what are the toughest things about being the man behind the plate? And guys, by the way, just how much are catchers valued? Of the big league managers this year, 11 of them, including Freddie Gonzalez, are former catchers. That's Inside the Marlins, debuts Saturday, April 18th.
All right, Gonzalez here with runners first and second and 2 outs. And Kensing just catches the corner for a strike. It's 1-1. Breaking ball, golfed down the line, and it's a fair ball, and into the corner it goes. Dunn is going to lumber home. Kearns is going to stop at third, and Tommy, it's exactly what you talked about. Even if you've got the lead and you don't challenge hitters, suddenly the base runners can add up. And the Nationals have a run, and they're threatening for more.
Pretty good slider, but it backed up. He wanted it away from Gonzalez. He just dropped the bat down, poked it down that corner. And you're right, all of a sudden now here comes the tying run to the plate. But that's where you get yourself in trouble. Late in games, when you have a lead, here come the buttons. They're getting pushed. And you walk guys.
Nunez is ready.
If the opposition puts together 4 or 5 base hits, they've earned it. Different story. Don't give it to them.
Bard goes after a fastball and fouls it back. It's a 6-3 ball game. That hit by Gonzalez is just the 4th hit of the day for the Nationals. A strike. 0-2. Nick Johnson waits. Off the end of the bat, Bonifacio races over and makes the play.
Nice job by Bonnie.
And that limits the damage to just a run. To the bottom of the 8th we go at Dolphin Stadium, with the Marlins on top of the Nationals, 6-3. Forces and aboard ships at sea. If you've been with us all day, thanks for hanging in there with us. Been a pretty good ball game. The Marlins and the Washington Nationals. The Marlins, off to a quick start, are 2-0 and a chance to go 3-0. Bottom of the 8th. Fish coming up with their 3-run lead. Alberto Gonzalez, who had the RBI double, stays in the game for Washington. Cody Ross is up, and he shortens the bunt. Saul Rivera misses outside. You know, Ross, you look at his first 2 ball games, and he swung the bat well. He hit the ball hard at people. But now he finds himself 0 for 3 in this one. He hasn't particularly swung it well today.
Yeah, today he's not, and that's the crazy part of this game, and how the mental part of it takes over. Let's say the first couple of games you didn't swing it well, but you got a little bloop base hit and an infield base hit. Well, you got 2 hits.
Right. It's a time of year, too, where, you know, you get 3 games in, and then when you get a week or 2 in, and if you're struggling, you look up at the scoreboard and see your average is like 050 or 125.
Yeah, you can hide. Kevin Millar told me this a number of years ago. You can hide an 0 for 15 in the middle of the season somewhere because your average is still there. You have some home runs, some RBIs. Said you can't hide it at the beginning of the year.
Hey, Cody up the middle.
That's a good at bat, and that'll get him going.
Into center field, the base hit. So Ross singles. Time now for the stay in the game hold of the day, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. All right, read it very quickly. I can't get through it fast enough before the next pitch.
I'm just going to let our viewers read it.
All right. Peruse at your leisure.
We're on TV. If it was radio, I would have read it, Rich.
That's right.
Good news, x-rays on Jorge Cantu's hand, negative. Day to day, and I think it's good. A day off tomorrow.
That is great news. Ross Gload has a base hit. He chops it slowly to first. Adam Dunn froze and then throws to first in time. You could see the wheels turning in Dunn's head. He's not an experienced first baseman, and he was thinking to himself, all right, what do I do here?
Well, once he saw it get by the pitcher, he said, I think I have to do something. Well, he did the right thing. He got off the bag. Nice flip to Rivera, and Rivera made a nice play getting over.
Did you see that? If we can back that up one more time, It almost looked like Rivera caught that ball while he was looking for the bag. You know, they say never take your eye off the ball. Carroll swings and misses. Watch Rivera. Yeah, he's looking at the bag before he catches the ball.
How about that?
That's amazing.
All that PFP in spring training paid off.
Yeah. He was pretty confident of that throw. So Ross is out at second.
Well, I'm looking at Adam Dunn and reading and knowing he was such a tremendous high school quarterback. I'm sure he wasn't an option quarterback. I'm sure he was a drop back guy.
Yeah, sit in the pocket. Carroll drives it out in a right field. Kearns is there and makes the catch. Just for our viewers who are wondering, please describe PFP.
PFP is what pitchers and first basemen and infielders work on in spring training. Pitchers fielding practice, and we see it during the course of the year. Matt Lindstrom works on it a lot. Manny Acta, he's just going to go out and make a change, but it's just a routine that pitchers do to keep themselves in shape to make plays.
Much like us when we have our Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Marlins on top. Joe Beimel on the mound. Beimel's second appearance in this series. And he gets the top of the order. They wanted to flip Emilio Bonifacio around.
They wanted to see that line drive single to right field one more time.
He's done that 3 times this year from this side of the plate. 2 hits in this ball game, another stolen base, 2 more runs scored. Bonifacio has been simply dazzling his first 3 games. Beimel catches a corner with a fastball. 6 runs on 10 hits for the Fish, 3 runs, 4 hits for the Nationals. A chance to sweep the Nationals and a chance to go 3-0. The Marlins dominated the Nationals last year, winning 14 of 17 games. There was 1 game that was rained out, that was not made up. Marlins probably would have won that game too. They have had the Nationals number now stretching all the way back through 2007. Here are the numbers going back into 2007. The Marlins have won 18 of 21. And all of the numbers certainly favoring the Fish.
Look at the home run totals.
9 of the last 10 at home, including 6 in a row in this ballpark. Bonifacio squirts it over to the right side. Dunn picks it up in time to get the out. Beimel finishes the Fish in the 8th. Marlins turn to their closer, Matt Lindstrom, who tries to shut down this ball game. Uphill climb for us. Then it just got worse. (6-3) Marlins on top of the Nationals. Into the ninth, and into the fire comes Matt Lindstrom, his first appearance here in 2009.
Well, this is a good situation for him to come in. He pitched in some minor league games as he was getting that shoulder back in shape. Of course, he tweaked it a little bit during the World Baseball Classic, but I think a good opportunity here to come in, and it's also a save situation for him. Remember, all 5 of his saves last year were in September.
Nick Johnson, fastball, 99 miles an hour, and it's 1-0. Pitch is inside. It's kind of a good news, bad news thing for Lindstrom. He would like to hang a cue or two up there for a quick out with 3 pitches or less. But as they've tried to nurse him back in with that tender shoulder, he hasn't pitched since Saturday. And he was available on opening day, and he was available last night, but the opportunity didn't present itself, and the Marlins don't want to use him in back-to-back games, in back-to-back days. So yesterday, when it was apparent the Marlins had the game in control, the decision was made Lindstrom will pitch in this game no matter what. If this was a blowout, Marlins up or down, Lindstrom was going to pitch. And then there's a natural day off tomorrow, and then he's available Friday.
So he would be available Friday night against the Mets.
But that layoff means he might not be as sharp.
That is the 9th walk of the game, and it didn't miss by much for the Marlins staff. Remember, they came into this game, the first 2 games of the year, they walked 1. And in this game today, they've walked 9.
Toyota trends last year, Matt Lindstrom converted 5 of 6 save opportunities. And Lindstrom throws a strike to Christian Guzman. Oh, 1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Oh, 2 pitch. He got him with heat.
Just go to the heat. 3rd straight time that Guzman has struck out. And that's the uniqueness of Matt Lindstrom. Here's a guy who throws 100 miles an hour, but he also can drop a nasty slider on you, and he can throw a good splitter. There he went upstairs with the fastball.
Bill James, the guy who revolutionized statistics in baseball, has a stat about guys who threw last year,
there's a slide piece, by the way,
last couple of years, threw the hardest pitches on average, and Lindstrom has been atop of the list. Those that throw consistently hard, what your average speed of pitch is, and Lindstrom's been #1 the last 2 seasons. And he misses outside to Elijah Dukes. Here's the 1-1. That fastball's up. There's his range of speeds from 86 almost up to 100. 95 miles an hour on that fastball. There it is. 97 was his average fastball last year.
That's the average, too.
But there's more to closing than having a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball, and that's the lesson that Lindstrom is trying to learn here. His first year as a full-time closer. Post-game show coming up. Marlins Live. We'll review this series, get you ready for the Mets, and get you scouted on Anibal Sanchez. Mark Wiley, Marlins pitching coach, will be with us. Frank Fort, ready for Marlins Live. We'll go into the Marlins clubhouse as well. Duke's waiting on a 2-2 pitch. That one is hit hard into left field. And Brett Carroll will gather it up. And there's a good example, Tommy. If you throw 97, 98, that's great. But you have to be able to throw an off-speed pitch for a strike. You have to be able to spot that fastball.
The other pitch that Matt worked on this spring is a two-seam fastball. Lower 90s, a little sink to it, and sometimes that double play ball is going to be a good friend of his.
Now you've got an interesting matchup here. You've got Zimmerman, who's hit so many home runs, big home runs against the Marlins in his brief career. And the Nationals are a home run away from tying this game. And Zimmerman knows he's going to get some fastballs. Bouncer, Ugla, swipe tag, no out, and he drops the ball, and everybody is safe. The runner from first, Dukes, appeared to get around Ugla, and the Marlins don't get any outs, and the bags are loaded.
You know, I know his intention was good to maybe think about a double play, but if he just gets the out, it's the second out of the inning, and you have runners at second and third, but you still have a 3-run lead. Now all of a sudden bases are loaded and there's still only 1 out.
Runner has 3 feet once he establishes his own base path, and it looked like Dukes was right about 3 feet.
And how about this matchup?
Oh, done against Lindstrom. That's a strike.
But there comes a time late in the game where outs are precious, and you just need to get the out.
Marlins have made a couple errors in this ball game. Dunn has walked twice. He's 0 for 2. Fastball's up and in. Monday night, he put one in orbit.
Fastball, middle of the plate, and you can see the shrug of Ricky Nolasco. He knew it was launched. A couple of guys going after each other that were on that World Baseball Classic USA team.
Well, if there's any question about the bat speed of Adam Dunn, he just pulled that Matt Lindstrom offering and almost pulled it into the first base dugout. Bags are filled with Nationals. Nick Johnson, Elijah Dukes, and Ryan Zimmerman. Lindstrom. Foul tip.
Expecting that foul tip to go down a little bit, and it stayed up over the mitt of John Baker.
Lindstrom trying to protect the 3-run lead. This his first closing assignment of 2009. As Tommy pointed out, he finished September as the Marlins closer. Breaking ball misses. It's 2-2. You got a guy here in Dunn who can hit it out of the park, and you also have a guy in Dunn that has a great eye. Leo Nunez in the bullpen. Good pitch.
It's a little different than pitching on the backfields at Roger Dean Stadium against minor leaguers. And the other thing, with the inning extended the way it has, all of a sudden that pitch count, over 20 pitches now.
Good battle. 2-2.
And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone who hasn't thrown a lot in the spring, it is.
Dunn hanging in there, fighting off fastball after fastball. You know that for a guy like Lindstrom who throws as hard as he does, sometimes there's that old adage, you don't want to get beat unless it's your best pitch. You know, there's that temptation to just stay with your best stuff and keep pumping in fastballs, but a guy like Dunn sooner or later going to catch up with one.
Looked like he tried the splitter. Now he's got to come with the fastball 3-2. If you throw the fastball, and he knows that he's probably going to throw it, Dunn knows he's probably going to see it, you at least want to try to crowd him and keep it under his hands so he can't get that big stroke extended.
So Dunn climbs back in, full count, bags loaded, 1 out. Lindstrom ready. And his 3-2 pitch. He walked him. It's a 2-run game. Here comes Willingham. And here comes Mark Wiley.
The Marlins have an opportunity. This should be worth checking into. If they can hang on and win this game, you don't win many games when you walk 10 guys. And that was the 10th walk issued today by Florida pitching.
Well, Lindstrom now is going to have to gather himself. Marlin fans know that Josh Willingham is a patient hitter as well. He rarely goes outside of the strike zone. And Willingham was part of that incredible year last year where the Marlins had 11 walk-off hits. Willingham contributing a walk-off home run. Hammer had a couple of walk-off homers in his career as a Marlin, and now Lindstrom misses. And it's 1-0. Lindstrom wants to know where that pitch missed.
You just don't get the high strike anymore. Certainly not from C.B. Buckner.
Yeah, it's a strike. 1-1. Hammer with a herniated disc last year. Played in 102 games, hit 15 homers, drove in 51. And tying runs out at second. There's 1 out. Boy, how big is the out that the Marlins didn't get on the ground ball to Ugla right now?
And that's the importance of just getting the out and not worrying about trying to make a fancy double play. Just get the out. That would have been out number 2.
One and 2. Last year against Washington, wearing the Marlins uniform here, Josh Willingham. One of 11 walk-off wins by the Fish. 5 of them were home runs.
He had some huge base hits against the Nationals last few years.
That's why probably when trade talk started and his name came up, it was like, bingo, we remember that guy. Another 1-2. Slider.
That's like, get Willingham. That'll get us a couple of more games in the standings.
Still loaded. Dukes. Zimmerman. Done. Run across. Marlins bullpen had a 6-2 lead going into the 8th. Logan Kenzen gave up a run. Lindstrom has given up a run. 2-2 pitch. Fastball. That one's pulled foul. That may have been the two-seamer.
Tell you, both done. And now Josh Willingham have given Matt Lindstrom a battle. Fouled off some pretty good pitches.
.30 pitches is not what you expect out of your closer in the 9th inning. He got him with a fastball. So Lindstrom now is an out away. He's got to get Kearns.
Good fastball, had a little life to it, a little last-minute jump on it, and got past Josh Willingham.
And he had set that pitch up, Tommy, on the 2 previous pitches. The slider that was in the dirt and the two-seamer that Willingham had fouled off. He elevated that pitch and he got it by him. Smack to left field. That ball is caught! Caught! Ball game! How about that? Carroll in left field snares it, and the Marlins sweep the Nationals on an absolute bullet by Austin Kearns. Wow! Brett Carroll makes the catch.
Remember all the changing and shifting that Freddie Gonzalez made with the versatile group of guys that he has. Brett Carroll came into the game in right, then shifted over to left with Glode, who was in left, moved to first base. So with Brett Carroll out there, who's the best defender of all the Marlins have as far as outfielders, that is not an easy play. The ball was stung by Austin Kearns, sinking line drive, and he stayed with it and made a terrific play.
This was not an easy save for Matt Lindstrom, and the